Few world leaders inspire such a mix of awe and trepidation as Vladimir Putin. He is the man who dragged Russia from the chaos of the 1990s, restoring its sense of pride and re-establishing it as a force to be reckoned with on the world stage. Yet, this resurgence has come at a cost. Putin's Russia is an authoritarian state, where dissent is stifled and political freedoms are curtailed. His shadow looms large, not just over Russia's vast expanse, but over global affairs where his actions have reshaped the geopolitical landscape. Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin's story began in the stark post-war landscape of Leningrad, now St. Petersburg. Born in 1952, he was a child of the Soviet system, growing up in a communal apartment block, a far cry from the gilded palaces of the Tsars. He was drawn to the world of espionage from a young age, famously telling his teachers that he wanted to be a spy. He excelled in his studies, particularly German, and pursued a law degree at Leningrad State University. It was here that his path crossed with the KGB, the Soviet Union's feared security agency. The KGB offered him a job upon graduation, an opportunity he seized with both hands. Putin's KGB career would take him to East Germany, where he honed his skills in intelligence gathering and cultivating assets. These formative years in the KGB instilled in him a deep sense of patriotism and a belief in the power of the state. They also exposed him to the shadowy world of espionage with its culture of secrecy and ruthlessness, traits that would come to define his leadership style. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 was a seismic event that sent shockwaves across the globe. For Putin, it was a personal and professional upheaval. He watched as the empire he had sworn to serve crumbled around him, leaving Russia in a state of political and economic turmoil. Returning to Russia, Putin navigated the treacherous waters of post-Soviet politics with a mix of caution and cunning. He rose through the ranks of the St. Petersburg city administration, gaining a reputation for efficiency and ruthlessness in equal measure. His star continued to rise, and in 1998 he was appointed head of the FSB, the successor to the KGB. This was a pivotal moment, placing him at the heart of Russia's security apparatus. Just a year later, in a move that surprised many, President Boris Yeltsin appointed Putin prime minister, setting him on the path to the presidency. The Putin presidency, power consolidated. Putin's ascent to the presidency in 2000 marked the beginning of a new era for Russia. He inherited a country still reeling from the aftershocks of the Soviet collapse, plagued by corruption, economic instability, and a sense of national humiliation. Putin moved swiftly to consolidate his power, reining in the oligarchs who had amassed vast fortunes in the 1990s and bringing the media under tighter state control. He launched a series of economic reforms that, coupled with rising oil prices, helped to stabilize the Russian economy and improve living standards for many ordinary Russians. Under Putin's leadership, Russia began to reassert itself on the world stage. He cultivated closer ties with China and other emerging powers, challenging the perceived dominance of the United States and its allies. He also embarked on a modernization program for the Russian military, showcasing Russia's resurgent power in conflicts in Georgia and Ukraine. The Medvedev interregnum and beyond. A predictable return. In 2008, constitutionally barred from seeking a third consecutive term, Putin stepped aside, allowing his protege Dmitry Medvedev to assume the presidency. However, few doubted that Putin remained the power behind the throne, serving as prime minister and continuing to exert significant influence over Russian politics. The Medvedev era was marked by a brief thaw in relations with the West, but this proved short-lived. In 2012, Putin returned to the presidency in an election that was widely criticized by international observers as being neither free nor fair. His return to the Kremlin was met with large-scale protests, a sign of growing discontent among some sections of Russian society. Putin responded with a crackdown on dissent, further tightening restrictions on freedom of speech and assembly. His third term as president saw Russia's annexation of Crimea from Ukraine in 2014, a move that triggered international condemnation and Western sanctions.